Welcome back, guys, to the Kerbal Space Center and to part 2 of our beginner's guide to Kerbal Space nonsense. Right, we are going to kick off by spending some of this wonderful cash that we got last time. We've got 130,000. I think they're called Spaceos. Somebody left me a comment and said they're called Spaceos, like pesos, but Spaceos. I like it. So we've got 130 Spaceos to spend, and the best way to spend them, first off, is over here, in this little building over here, the astronaut complex. And if we upgrade, then our Kerbals can perform EVAs, and that gets us more science. And right now, it's all about the science. So we're going to upgrade that. Oh, and see, the building changes a little bit. Yeah, you'll see this evolves over time. Right, we're going to take a little trip over to mission control. I'm going to left click on that and see what contracts we've got now. How you doing, Gene? Drinking his coffee, ignoring us. We're going to escape the atmosphere, orbiting Kerbin. Now, I mean, we could do that in theory, but not just yet. We're going to escape the atmosphere. Now, this is going to bring us a nice bit of cash. What is that? Like 70,000 Spaceos. Lovely. Bad news if we fail, we lose 22,000. Not good. But we get 8 space, we get 19 reputation. It's all good news. What do we need to do? Well, we need to breach the atmosphere by flying a vessel to an altitude of 70,000 meters. Right, sounds good, doesn't it? Sounds exciting. Sounds scary. Right, this is going to be quite a tricky little mission. It's something that if you kind of didn't know what you were doing, it takes a little bit of trial and error to figure things out. But I'm going to supply all that information for you. Now, one more thing we want to do before we go in and start building rockets is we want to do a bit of research. So we're going to go over here to the research and development, and we're going to spend some of this lovely science that we've got. Now, here's our tech tree. We're going to go straight away for basic rocketry. This gives us liquid fuel engines. At the moment, we've only got a solid fuel rocket, but this gives us a liquid fuel engine and a liquid fuel tank to supply fuel to the engine. It also gives us a bigger solid fuel booster, which we're going to be using. So we'll take that, and then we're going to go down to Engineering 101. Now, this gives us some other interesting bits and pieces. Probably the most useful is this science module. That's going to allow us to capture more science, and more science is good news. The other really useful thing is this stack decoupler, and we're going to be using that quite heavily in this next mission. So let's take that. Now, we also have enough research, enough science researched that we can take one of the next set of tech upgrades. Now, general rocketry, it's a much better liquid fuel engine. It would actually make this mission a lot easier. We could go for stability. This adds these winglets, which are much better than the basic winglets that we're going to be using. That would also be very useful. Down here, though, survivability. Now, one thing is the heat shield. Now, the way I'm going to do this mission, we actually could get away without having a heat shield, but I'm going to do it with a heat shield just to show you. We get landing strips, we're not going to use those. What we are going to use is these radial mounted parachutes. These things are peachy, right? So we're going to take this. Right, let's get out of here and let's go build a rocket. So here we are in the vehicle assembly bay. And we're going to get building rockets. And this thing's actually pretty cool. I've been playing around with this design. This is pretty nice. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to take a Mark 1 command pod. Oh hell yes! And then we're going to kit that out with a parachute. Right. So we go to utility, and we're going to take a regular parachute, and we're going to pop that on the top. So that's where we're going to start. I'm actually going to move this up, because this is going to be, as you'll see, quite a big rocket. Right, next, what are we going to put on? Now, normally, most people would put a heat shield on here, but we're actually going to be quite ambitious. We're going to try and recover quite a lot of our spaceship. Oh, yeah. So, we're going to go to, let's see, we're going to go to first science. Okay, and we're going to kit this out with lots of science. Now, what are we going to try and do? We're going to try and get out of the atmosphere, into space. So what science could we do? Right, if we take one of these, now I could activate one of these on the landing pad and get a reading from it. Very, very cool. But then I could also do another one while we're flying over Kerbin. And then I could do another one of these experiments while we're actually in the upper atmosphere. You've got flying over Kerbin, and then you've got the upper atmosphere, and then you've got space, right? So we could do another one of these experiments while we're in space, and every one of these is going to bring us back more science, and that's good news. Right. Also, when we land, wherever we land, we can do another one of these. So guess what? Oh yeah, we're taking 5 of these puppies along with us. Oh yes, indeedy. Now, everywhere that we can do one of these, we can do a goo experiment. Well, except on the landing pad, because if you remember, we already did a goo experiment on the landing pad. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set the symmetry to just to 2, and I'm going to pop a couple of these on the first part, and then I'm going to pop another 2 on the next one as well. There and there. Lovely. Sexy, isn't it? Come on, that is actually starting to look a bit sexy. Right, now, parachutes. Actually, good point. More parachutes. We need more parachutes. Let me move these down to there. Now, this one parachute would not be enough to slow this down to survive landing. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to, where are we? Utility. And we're going to take some of these radial mounted parachutes. And we're going to pop these on the side up on this first level. Oh yeah. Now that means we've got 3 parachutes which are going to jettison, and we're going to keep those all in one stage so that they jettison all 3 together, and those are going to provide us with a lovely soft landing. Right, now so this is what we're going to recover. This is the part we're going to be recovering. So we want to pop a heat shield underneath here. Now in actual fact you could get away without using a heat shield, but we're going to use one because it's sensible. It's safety first. Safety first, boys. Always safety first. So we're going to pop that on there. Now, this is the part that we're going to bring back. So we now want anything below this to be jettisoned. Now, in order to jettison things, we go to structural and we use one of these stack decouplers. And it does what it says on the tin. It decouples parts of the stack. So we're going to pop one of those. Let's zoom in a little bit. Oops, wrong way. There we go. Zoom in a bit so we can see. Just pop that there, and you'll see that it forms a little bit to cover up whatever you're coupling. That was the word I was looking for. Right. So, having done that, and let's zoom out a bit so we can see. Having done that, we actually need to propel this into space. Now that's going to take a bit of doing, right? So what we're going to start off with is fuel tanks. Now we've only got these little dinky tiny fuel tanks, and they really are small. They contain very, very little fuel. 45 liquid fuel and 55 oxidant. So we're going to pop one of these on there. Now if you hold down the Alt key and click on a component, it will duplicate it. Okay, so pop another one of those under there. Now, if I press Alt and click on the bottom one, it'll duplicate it again. Okay, but if I click further up the stack, it'll duplicate everything up to that point. Right, so now I've got 2 of those, and I'm actually going to add, I think, 1 more. Now, I would suggest if you're doing this, probably to put a 6th one on. 5 will just about get you above. You know what? I'm going to put another one on. Just safety first. Safety first, guys. Right. So, having got our fuel, we now need an engine. Oh yeah, now we've only got one liquid fuel engine, which is this LVT30 Reliant liquid fuel engine, and the thrust is pretty poor. It's not that good. It's not a very efficient engine, but it'll be enough to get us where we're going. Okay. Oh, look! It's kind of cool, isn't it? Now, we do have a limit of 30 components in our rockets at the moment until we upgrade the vehicle assembly building, the VAB. So we've got to be careful that we don't use too many components. Right, this is going to be our top stage. So once we've used this rocket, we're going to jettison it. So we've got the decoupler there, but we also want to have a decoupler underneath it, so that whatever's underneath it can be decoupled, because we're going to have a couple more stages, boys. Oh yeah, this is going to be an interesting flight, believe you me. So we put a stack decoupler on, and look, covers it up. Isn't that cool? I like that. Right, so what are we going to have underneath this? Well, we need to like get off the pad and get a bit of speed going before we kick in this motor. These liquid fuel rockets are good once you get up a bit, but to get off the pad, the solid fuel boosters are pretty much the way to go. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back up to where are we? Engines, and we're going to take one of these Hammer solid fuel boosters, bit bigger than the Flea. Burns for a bit longer, a bit more thrust. So we're going to pop one of those on there, and then we're going to have another decoupler. Where's structural? We're going to have another decoupler on there. Now, for some reason, it doesn't cover this bit up, but doesn't hurt. And then we're going to go back to our engines, and we're going to have another one of these on the bottom. Oh yeah, we're going to have a 3-stage rocket, and that's actually pretty big and impressive, isn't it, boys? Is it going to fly? That's the question. Is it going to do its job? Well, we're going to find out fairly soon. Right, couple more things that we need to do. Now, this thing, if we actually tried to fly that as it is, it would spin like a top. Let's look at our centre of gravity. Although our centre of gravity is below the middle, this thing's just going to be all over the place. It's got no stability. Right? So we need to add some aerodynamic stability so that we can actually fly the darn thing. Right, so we're going to go to aerodynamics. Now we've only got these basic fins. Now these basic fins are pretty small. They will help, but like it doesn't make flying easy. Once we get some of the bigger fins, it'll make life a hell of a lot easier. And that's why we're not going to try and go right into orbit at this point. We're just going to go pretty much straight up and down. Right, we're going to adjust our symmetry. Now you can also use X to flick through these like that. Right, we're going to set it to 4, and we're going to pop not on the first stage, but on the second stage, because we're limited by the number of parts, and this counts as 4 parts rather than 1, which I think is a bit mean, but it is what it is. We're going to put it on the second stage booster there, right? So this will keep us steady. We'll jettison the first stage, and then these fins will continue to keep us steady on the second stage. But when we jettison that, right, we're going to need some fins on this stage, on our third stage. So we're going to take another set of fins, and we're going to put them on here at the bottom, just above the motor. Right, now have I forgotten anything? I've got my capsule for my pilot, I've got my parachutes, I've got my science and my science labs and my goo pods, and I've got my stabilizers for my top section, my top stage, and I've got my stabilizers that will work for both of the bottom stages. Right, cool. We have a little bit of a look at the engineer's report. Show severity. Right, we've got no errors. So let's just check our stages. So that's going to be our first stage, right? Then we're going to decouple it. Then we're going to fire our second stage. Then we'll decouple that. Then we'll fire our third stage. Then we'll decouple that, and then when we're falling back to Earth, we'll fire our 3 parachutes. I'm so excited. Right, let's check out our crew. Now, for this, because we've only got these very basic fins, we're going to need a bit of help, I think. So we're going to take a pilot. We're going to take Jebediah. Oh, yes. Because he can help us to stabilize our rocket in flight. Cool. I think, guys, that we're actually ready to go. Oh, my God. We will call this Bonehead Mark II. And trust me, this is a fairly boneheaded design. Bonehead Mark II. There we go. I'm going to save it. And then we're going to go off to our launch. Now, I just want to make sure that I did get the contract. Oh, craft has too many parts. Oh, okay, that's not good. Unable to launch. So what we're going to do, we're going to live with just the one set of stabilizer fins. Okay. Now that's, yeah, it's going to make the flying this a little bit more difficult, but we should be okay. So let's get rid of these. I told you the parts limitation is quite severe at this point until we can upgrade this building. So we're just going to have one set of stabilizer fins. If you're just using one set of fins, they need to be on your last stage. So this is a 3-stage rocket, they need to be on the 3rd stage. Okay, let's save that then, and let's go off and see if we can fly this. Okay, so here we are on the launch pad. Now I want to check my contracts to make sure that I picked up my Escape the Atmosphere contract. Yes, I did. Now what do I need to do? I need to get above 70,000 meters, which is going to be a bit of a challenge. Right, we can get started with our science straight away. So we're going to observe the materials bay on the from the launch pad. The materials show little signs of change. Not really too much of a surprise there, but that gets us 7.5 science straight away. Okay, done. Oh man, are you ready for this? We are going to set to max thrust. Now the 1st and 2nd stages will be on max thrust anyway, but when we kick off the 3rd stage, I want this to be on max thrust initially, and then I'll probably throttle it back a little bit. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, let's do it. Now I'm going to open this this pod here and see. This is while flying at Kerbin. Excellent. Let's take that data. We can also use one of our mystery goos. Oh, let's jettison that. Fire the next stage. Let's review this. We only get 1.6, what was it, 1.6 science for this, but we'll take that. Now, you may have to use your W, A, S and D keys to keep this thing stable. Right, jettison that, fire this stage. Right, so we are now travelling at 300 meters per second. We just went through the sound barrier. Oh, we're doing good, we're doing good. Now, I just want to keep this pretty much straight. If I can. Here we go. Just tapping the D key just to straighten it up and keep us going up as straight as possible. Now I'm going to throttle back a little bit, down to about 75-80%. It'll just keep us flying for a little bit longer. Keep the rocket nice and straight. Be very gentle with your controls. Oh, I should have put SAS on, which would help the stability. Right, here we go. Now, we should be up in the upper atmosphere now. So let's observe one of our material bases. Yes, we're in the upper atmosphere. So let's take that data. We'll use another one of our mystery goos. Yeah, we're in the upper atmosphere. We'll take that. Excellent. We will do a crew report from the upper atmosphere. And we're going to do a bit of a trick with... actually, I'm going to reset that because we're going to do a bit of a trick with crew reports. Now, we're going to switch very quickly to our map by pressing the M key. And then we're going to go in and we're going to look at this. Now, this will show us our trajectory. And up here is our apoapsis, which is our maximum altitude. all right? And this is going to get us up to, oh, look at that, 107,000 meters. Now, we only need to get above 70,000, so that's got us well above that. So we're going to have time to do our experiments and probably do a bit of an EVA and then recover all of that data, and then we'll drop down. Now, if you look at this trajectory, we took off, but we're going to land like back over here. Now why didn't we just go straight up and down? And the answer is because the planet, well, probably we weren't going dead straight for a start, but the planet is rotating. So as the planet rotates, so our position moves in terms of where we're going to land. So there you go. Right, let's get back to our spacecraft, because we need to get some stuff done. Right, we can now run an observe. We're above 70,000. We can observe the materials bay while we're in space. Oh yeah, and look at this. We get like 25 science for that. Sweet. We can do a mystery goo while we're in space, and that's another 10 science. That's excellent. We'll do a crew report, and that's another, what was that, another 5 science. Now this is where things get a little bit kind of interesting. What we're going to do is we're going to EVA our pilot. Now you want to do this relatively quickly. We'll take the data out of the command module. So take the data and then we store it again. Right? We're going to do an EVA by right-clicking on him and do an EVA report. Take that data, then click back on the capsule. We'll store that. Yep, store experiments, and then we'll go back on board. B for board. Right. So now we've done all of our experiments and gathered all of our data while we're in the outer atmosphere. Now we're going to start falling back. We can get rid of our third stage. We don't need that anymore. So goodbye. Excellent. Now our job is going to be to try and keep this thing relatively straight. Now I've gone a bit higher than I have done before when I've run this mission, because I added a 6th fuel tank. If you run it with 5 fuel tanks, you'll only go up to about 80,000. Adding the extra fuel tank gives you more time, but it does mean that you'll be coming down a little bit hotter. Now that means that you're going to have to keep the heat shield pointed down at the ground. Okay. Now, if we've got SAS switched on, which I didn't have, but I now have, that'll help you to keep this thing stable. But you will still have to use your WAS and D keys. Here we go. We're now entering the atmosphere. We're below 70,000. Now, what I can do a quick EVA, right? I can take the data, store the experiments, and then do a crew report. Whoops, no. Board. Now I can do a crew report. So I've got an extra crew report. Now we're starting to tip over. So just again, be very gentle. And I'm just using the A and D keys just to keep the thing nice and stable. Now if you try and do this without a pilot and without the SAS, oh, and it's still tipping over. Now if it tips over, wait till it goes over and then try using the A and D keys to get it back. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But I'm hoping that because we were coming down from not too high a height, that we should be okay. And yeah, we look okay. We look okay. Now when we get down to under 3,000, about 2,500 feet, 3,000. I'm actually going to pop it earlier because we're over the mountains. So this altitude takes into consideration, it doesn't take into consideration the land. Oh, that's us going through the sound barrier. We are now below 500 feet, so our parachutes have opened. Now, the important thing to look at is down here. We want to be landing at no more than sort of 6 meters per second if we want to save this craft. And we're coming down at around 5 meters per second, which should be nice. Now, because we're coming down so slowly, it's going to take us a while to get to the ground. Although actually we're fairly close, but we'll speed this up just a little bit. Now I could do another experiment while I'm flying over. We'll actually be in the Highlands here, but it's difficult to kind of judge. I would suggest getting that information later using jet planes, and we'll cover that later on. Let's speed this up a bit and get down on the ground. Here we go. Almost there. Touching down any second. And will we survive? Yes. We're going to tip over gently. There we go. So we've now landed on the ground. Awesome. And our rocket is completely intact, which is pretty beautiful. Now we've got one more of these science junior labs that we can use. And if we operate that, we can do a material study from Kerbin's Highlands, and this gets us another 7.5 science. So let's take that. Now, this is a little bit of an interesting thing, right? If we go to the cockpit, right? Because I got the crew reports and stored them, we've actually got 2 crew reports in here. Now, if I do an EVA at this point, oh, hatch is obstructed. Oh, that's unfortunate. It's landed on the wrong side, and we can't get out to do an EVA. Oh, that is a shame. We could have picked up some more stuff. Oh well, never mind. Now we should have one more goo canister unused. We'll use that. There we go. That's another 3 science. Very nice. That's a shame. Oh well, never mind. We're still going to get an absolute ton of science for this. You can get more if we'd been lucky and this had been tipped over the other way. Then we could have got him out and we could have got a bunch more science. Right, let's recover the vehicle then. We'll go back to base and we'll see exactly what we got. Oh, look at that. We got 129 science from that. And that is pretty damn good for a second mission, let me tell you. That's going to enable us to get a whole bunch of stuff. Let's take a look at what we got. We got a crew report from the upper atmosphere. We got a crew report whilst in space. That brought us back 20 science. 9.5 science. We got an EVA report. We got a material study from the Highlands. We got a material study in space. We got a material study in the upper atmosphere, flying at Kerbin, and another one. So we got 5 material studies. And look what this brought in: 7.5, 25, 22.5, 17.5, 7.5. Those things bring back a ton of science. I really advise you to use lots of them and use them early. We also got 4 lots of mystery goo, which is awesome sauce. We got the vehicle recovered, which is another 8 science. And what else? We recovered a lot of our parts, which is very good. That brings us back a lot of funds. We're up to 319,000 cash, 145 science. Wonderful. Reputation, we pulled back 115 reputation, which is great. Jebediah Kerman got 1 experience point. Sweet as. Let's go and have a look over here. So we set a distance record of 5,000 meters. Sweet. So we travelled a fair distance over towards the Highlands. We'll get more of those going forward. And that brings us back a bit more cash, a bit more reputation. Let's get rid of that one. We set an altitude record of 70 kilometers, so that's getting in out of the atmosphere. And we got the escape the atmosphere contract completed. Cash, science, reputation. And we set an altitude record, another one, 26.5 kilometers. We've now got loads of cash to spend on upgrades for our space center. We've got loads of science to spend in research and development. That's going to bring us back a whole bunch of stuff, and it's going to open up a way for us to get a whole bunch of science very, very cheaply and easily. You don't want to miss that. Come back for the next one. I'll spend all of this and we're going to go on more missions. See you next time. Peace out.